It's 17 minutes before 4 o'clock right now on the coast. The other half of the blood equation today is, well, we are getting close to Halloween, so we're talking about vampires as well. And we know they have pale skin, and we know they have fangs, and we know they wear capes. But there's got to be more to vampire fashion, really, than capes. So we called in our fashion guru to find out. JJ Lee is here to tell us what to wear when you're not busy sucking someone else's blood. Hello, JJ.
Hello, Stephen.
Is there really something called vampire fashion? Please say no.
There is. It's sort of borrowing from goth lifestyle subculture, so don't tell goths that there's vampire chic. But there is. Mainstream retailers like BB have ran with the look, and they have, like this season, fall 2009, corsets, puffy sleeves, and lace. So it's Victorian, trashy, sexy. It's vampire chic.
But what are the women wearing?
They're wearing corsets, and that's actually the big element of it. It's being used as a fashion separate. But, of course, I don't know that much about corsets. So I went down to see Sanne Lambert at Venus&Mars. They're at 17 years at Canby and Cordova in Gastown, and I had a chance to get some corset basics. So, corset basics. But my first question was, for Sanne, what do you think of vampire chic?
Oh, gosh. Vampire chic. That's your term, not mine. But it's still good news to me that there's an awareness in society about these kind of fashions. It's very classic style. So I think that's a good idea. It's all good.
Now, I see a lot of things that look corset-like. Can you tell me what they are and what's the difference between them?
There's a difference between a corset and what I call a corselet. A corselet looks like a corset, and then it has the lacing and trim and such, but it doesn't have boning. Venus&Mars uses steel boning in their corsets, so they can be quite serious depending on how much steel bone is in there. So here we have a strapless corselet, which does not have boning and can be worn more casually underneath a jacket or even with jeans, but dressed up for more of an evening or dining event, that kind of thing, or even for Christmas. And this is a corset, would probably be worn for more of I don't know, night clubbing, or we do get a lot of burlesque dancers these days, that kind of thing.
How are people wearing it in a contemporary way?
With jeans would probably be the most basic thing, but they do dress it up more with skirts, and some women like to wear crinolines, which will be a little bit more full, but I think they probably get a lot more wear out of it, and I certainly tell my clients this if they tend to think of it as more of a casual thing that you can wear every day underneath a suit jacket with a sort of work-type skirt or with a pair of jeans. And there's also another point I would make, and something that I tell clients quite often, that you should practice in a corset before you wear it for an 8-hour stint, because you will tend to feel a little bit faint if you don't. So I suggest people wear it for an hour at a time and sort of work up to it, 2 hours the next day, 4 hours, and so on. And then that way, when you do have your big event, you're not feeling faint. And
so it's very important. One of the smart consumer things to do when you do get a corset, try it on, get used to it.
I think it's good to get someone to show you how to get into them, too. I've seen quite a few people come out of the change room with them upside down and backwards, and that's no helpful to a shape adjustment either.
The trend is to have the corset over another shirt or blouse. What do you have in the store that sort of captures that idea?
We have a couple of different things like that. I call it working with separates. I like separates because gowns are beautiful, but how often are you going to wear them? Whereas if you have these separate items, you can wear them a lot more frequently, I would think, right? So we have an item that is developed. Venus&Mars is essentially items that are developed that are signature pieces, and they're developed because people ask for them. So people were wanting a sleeveless outfit, but then they want sleeves. So they want the option of doing that. So we have an item that's called an underblouse. So it can be worn underneath a corset. We usually keep the colors pretty basic, black and white. And that way they're more functional and they can be mixed and matched with different things. We also have an item which I'm wearing right now, which is a shrug, but we call them sleeves because they're longer and they have a bell sleeve bottom that's laced. We have two different lengths of the bell sleeve. One of them is the 3/4 length, which is relatively more functional, and I can wear it and cut in it. So that's what I'm wearing. But there's also a longer version of it. The longer version is more kind of decadent, and so rather than having to buy a whole gown, you can just get the sleeves and put them over top of a corset. And so you can wear these things to the office. Like you could wear a corset and put a blazer over top of it and even wear a suit kind of thing with it, and then go into evening, take the blazer off, be a little bit more fabulous, that kind of thing. So, yeah.
I noticed there's this lovely pencil line skirt in black with a pinstripe with a floral overstitching on it. Really beautiful. And it is all those things that we talk about in Vampire Chic. It's romantic, it's historical, and yet it's a very contemporary cut. Can you tell me more about the skirt?
I had been going through my old patterns and organizing them, and I found a pattern that was from the early 90s that was essentially this pencil or wiggle skirt that now people are asking for. So I've adapted it and bought some stretch fabric, and one of the girls that was working here said, hey, you should get something with some embroidered flowers on it. So away I went and I picked it up, and thank God it fits into the trends of right now.
Well, Sanne Lambert of Venus and Mars in Gastown, thank you very much for giving me the 1, 2, 3s and the know-how so I can fit into a corset. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
There you go, the owner of Venus and Mars in Gastown, Sanne Lambert.
JJ Lee, thank you. Once again, taking one for the team.
You're most welcome.
Appreciate that. JJ Lee is on the Coast's fashion columnist, and you can hear him in his regular time next Monday at 10 to 5 right here on the Coast, 11 minutes before 4 o'clock.